morning, everyone. This is Anae Agostini with CID Insurance Programs, and I welcome you to our new and first time webinar on liquor liability. It's often overlooked but essential to many businesses. I want to introduce our instructor today. We're really lucky to have Haywook Lee, who's an underwriter for USLI, the Hospitality and Liquor team. And I also want to introduce Teresa Cochran, who's our liquor liability commercial underwriter. She specializes in a lot of things, but liquor is also one of the coverages that she writes. And then last but not least is Jacob Cole, who's our marketing specialist, and he works behind the scenes to make everything run smoothly for you guys. And so let's get started. Sorry. Well, that's all we need. Okay, sorry about that. So what are we going to be learning today? Webinar objectives and logistics. So we're going to learn about liquor liability coverage and why businesses need it. We're going to have a better understanding of liquor liability, the liquor liability exposure when we're done with this webinar. And then how liquor liability claims can help you help your insured understand the exposure that they have, because a lot of people selling liquor do not have liquor liability. And then let's gain some more knowledge about who needs liquor liability. So that's Haywook's going to be talking about all of those items. Now, logistics, everybody, if you've been on one of our webinars before, you know there's too many of you, and so we need to keep you muted, and so you'll be able to hear but not speak. And then, but we want your questions, so please pose them in the chat room off to your right, and we will answer them as we go throughout. So we'll stop and answer their questions as we go. All right, let's get started. Let me introduce Haywook.
Thank you, Anae. Thank you very much for joining us during your busy schedule. My name is Haywook Lee, underwriter on USLI's Hospitality and Liquor team, and it's my honor to be the guest speaker today to talk to you all about liquor liability. So before we get into what the coverage is about and why everyone needs it, I do want to get you excited about the big opportunity you have in your neck of woods. So, restaurant industry, as we all know, is a huge industry. It's actually an $800 billion industry. And fun fact for you, California is actually home to second most liquor licenses. Another fun fact for you, and less than 50% of those license holders choose to purchase liquor liability in the state of California. So if you don't know how big the opportunity is, the opportunity is endless, and there's a big opportunity you can go after. California's specific statistics I wanted to share with you as well. There are about 76,000 eating and drinking locations in California as of 2018. I'm sure the number is bigger now. And California alone accounts for $97 billion in 2018. So you get the idea. There are about 1.8 million restaurant and food service jobs in California in 2019, which accounts for 11% of employment in that state. So let's delve into the liquor exposure. So, what do we mean when we say liquor liability? So, it's an important piece of coverage that every business that has exposure to sale and service of alcohol should consider. And it covers, third-party claims regarding, bodily injuries or property damage arising from, intoxicated patrons or minors who, drive off and cause wreck, and victims can sue bar owners for their negligence. So we're gonna look very closely in a few slides, but that's the definition of liquor liability. And hospitality is a really broad industry. So when you think about hospitality business, it's really anyone that has an exposure to sale or service of food and or alcohol. So a couple good examples might be, bars, restaurants, liquor stores, banquet halls, hotels and motels that serve alcohol, providing lodging, event planners, there are recreation centers that serve alcohol, trampoline parks, amusement centers, you name it. So why do we need liquor liability? California does not require business that sell alcohol to have a liquor liability policy. So, you might be wondering, if it's not a requirement, why does the business owner need it? First of all, I'd like to mention that liquor liability claims are low frequency but high severity driven claims in nature. So when you're thinking about general liability claims such as slip and fall or food poisoning, those are your high frequency, low severity type of claims. On the other hand, liquor liability claims are they don't happen pretty frequently, but when they do happen, it's something very tragic. So, working at US Life, we get to see the real life claims, and it's not uncommon to see claims involving deaths or someone needing a long-term care as a plaintiff. So, and not in addition to that, when you're purchasing liquor liability, there's also an opportunity to purchase assault and battery coverage. So, as we all know, when there's alcohol, people fight. I don't know why that is, but there's correlation between that. And assault and battery coverage a lot of times is an important piece of coverage that people purchase liquor liability for. And servicing all lines of coverage, including liquor liability, can also be a great way to really mitigate your E&O exposure as well. So this is me on weekends. We refer to the person causing wreck or accidents as AIP, which stands for allegedly intoxicated person or patron. So we're going to use this term moving forward. And here's a series of events that actually typically happens when there's a liquor liability claim. So Haywook has a couple of drinks at CID bar and restaurant, and he thinks it's okay to drive, so he decides to drive home while heavily intoxicated, and Haywook gets into an auto accident and unfortunately injures someone. And in this case, plaintiffs can be multiple parties, so a lot of times persons who are actually hit by the car, such as drivers of other cars or pedestrians, can be plaintiffs, or it could be the passengers in the AIP's car, so they can actually bring suit against the bar owner as well. Or sometimes it's heirs or estate of the persons injured. So when you're looking at claims that involve wrongful death action, a lot of times the family of the victim will sue not only the drivers but also the bar restaurant owners. In this case, this is why every bar restaurant owner should think about having liquor liability policy in place if they sell alcohol. And like I mentioned, these are severity driven claims. So, as you can see in the picture, this is very unfortunate, but, it can be high severity claims. So let's get into something a little bit more technical. So when we talk about liquor liability, liquor liability policy is built based on dram shop laws. And there are about 44 states that have dram shop acts. And what do we mean by dram shop laws? It's a term referring to the liability of establishments that serve alcohol, which results in injury or death to a third party. So simply put, it was created to protect the public from irresponsible or negligent sale and service of alcohol, and it imposes statutory liability on licensed establishments. One thing to note, dram shop laws are regulated by each state, meaning, depending on where the risk is located, there are specific exposures that warrant underwriters' attention. So, for example, California is known for very favorable legal climate. So the only way a bar or restaurant owner can be on the hook for a claim is when they knowingly serve intoxicated minors on premises, um, which makes it really favorable legal climate because you're going to see less claims because if you serve negligently to intoxicated patrons, the chances are they may not be able to bring lawsuit against the bar restaurant owners. However, I don't want to discount the fact that liquor liability is imperative regardless because the defense cost can be quite costly on liquor liability claims. We've seen claims where defense costs can exceed 70K, 80K, 100K, and CID can really provide you that solution to offer defense costs outside the limit. There's different terms listed on the screen. We don't need to touch on every single thing, but the most common exposures under liquor liability would be the intoxicated person, more accurately, visibly intoxicated person, or any minors who might use fake IDs to get in the establishment and get a couple of drinks and get into accidents. And there are different laws or liability that come into play when court is making decision on the case, such as joint and several liability, which we're going to touch on briefly. So what type of opportunities are you looking at in this line of business? So if you're really thinking about it, a lot of savvy business owners, they don't really have time or resources available to manage their own claim handling process. And they cannot just simply, close their shop to manage their liquor liability claim. This is why you need to have a policy in place so that, carriers such as USLI, there's a designated claims team can really help them, go through that claim process with the, claims teams just specializing in liquor liability claims. Like I said, defense costs can be costly, and simply put, an insurance policy is a way to protect their balance sheet, as a known expense versus unknown defense costs plus more. So we're gonna take a look at some real life examples that actually happen at USLI, and this is scary, but anything like this could happen to anybody in any state. So it was a bar tavern that we insured, and a young couple, they were served drinks at a popular downtown bar. They've been drinking, and they decided to leave the establishment, and they crossed over 2 lanes of traffic and got into a pretty severe accident. The driver of the truck was severely injured, and suit was obviously brought against the bar for negligent service and failing to properly train employees. It was a $500,000, $1 million policy, and we paid out the $500,000 policy limit. Expense cost, was close to $50,000. So as you can see, it's a high severity claim. Expense cost is not cheap. Another example for concessionaire, it could happen also to a lot of vendors that attend, festivals or concerts. Even if it's a one-day special event, they can be on the hook for negligent sale and service of alcohol. So another example for you, a concert attendee, they were served 8 beers, which is a lot over the course of the evening. The patron was speeding and rear-ended another vehicle. Unfortunately, they were ejected from the car and suffered serious injuries, and this one was a lot higher. The claim settled for $1 million, with the expense cost exceeding $77,000. So, these are just, 2 of many scenarios that could occur when a business that sells or serves alcohol, may be held liable for the actions of the, intoxicated person served. So let's move on to, who needs liquor liability. So when we're thinking about hospitality and liquor business, we think in terms of 2 big buckets. So, the first bucket might be establishments that sell alcohol for on-premises consumption. So these are your typical bar, tavern business, fine dining, fast food restaurants, nightclubs, or even fraternal or private clubs that serve alcohol, for their members that are run on membership based. There are a lot of banquet halls that either rent their facility out and they serve alcohol themselves, or they simply rent their facilities to lessees and they let lessees hire their own caterers or bartenders, which we can all consider. And nowadays you see bowling alleys or microbreweries popping up everywhere that sell alcohol for on-premise consumption. And the second bucket would be your off-premise consumption entity. So prime examples might be caterers or bartending services that go to different events off premises to either sell or serve alcohol. And convenience deli, grocery stores, liquor stores, or in Michigan they call it party stores. They might sell alcohol to patrons for off-premise consumption. There are a lot of BYOB type establishments popping up too, and obviously special event can be also part of hospitality. So why do we encourage you to really use CID for your hospitality and liquor needs? Because USLI just one spoke on the wheels. They can really give you that solution, and they're one-stop shop for this line of business. So when you send a piece of submission to CID, we can consider establishments that are new ventures that have up to 100% alcohol sales, aka your full-blown bars, 24-hour diners, establishments that have major entertainment such as DJ with dancing, live bands with 3 or more members, establishments that have previous losses or claims. We can definitely consider that. Violation, we can definitely consider with proper underwriting. We also have a market for establishments that may attract youthful clientele, ranging from 21 to 25 years of age. We can also entertain risks that have bouncer security door persons. And even if they have bouncer security door persons, we can also offer you a policy that has up to full assault and battery coverage limit. So that's definitely another selling point that you want to talk to your insurers about. There are different options available under liquor liability coverage. So first option might be the basic policy form. The second option is a broadened policy form. So I want to start with the broadened policy form only because 90% of the policyholders choose to purchase the broadened policy form because it's the most comprehensive form available. And as I mentioned earlier during the presentation, expense costs can be high, so that's definitely one thing that pretty much everyone wants. Assault and battery is included under this option, and liquor license holders actually automatically include as additional insured. So when you're looking at the basic policy form, it's the exact opposite of the broadened policy form, meaning expense costs might be inside the limits. Assault and battery will not be included. We do see policyholders choosing the basic policy form from time to time because sometimes the venue requires liquor liability policy in place, and they just need that bare minimum coverage to satisfy the landlord. This might be a scenario in which they just might get basic policy form as opposed to broadened policy form. So, like I said, CID is a one-stop shop for hospitality and liquor lines of business. Whether you're looking for that property, GL, liquor liability package quote, we can also consider offering equipment breakdown, excess liability that covers their GL on underlying basis, higher-end non-owned auto, crime coverage, utility service coverage, so you name it. So all the ancillary coverage that the bar restaurant owners need, CID has a solution for you. So that pretty much concludes my portion of the presentation. And as you can see on your screen, this is a designated phone number you can actually call in to get a quote over the phone. which typically takes, an average of about 5 minutes. And there are many different products available in addition to hospitality and liquor lines. So whether it's a vacant building, commercial, professional, nonprofit, you can reach out to. You have access to over 50 underwriters who are available on the line to help you guide you through that process. So with that being said, I'm gonna turn it over to NA again.
Thank you so much, Haywook. That was a great webinar. And also, I just wanted to back up what Haywook said, is that we partner with USLI to make it really easy for you to get fast phone quotes without an application, because the application sometimes is the culprit of getting in the way of getting an actual quote for your client. So please call that number, and and you can quote a lot of other things, a lot of other products as well. You can find those on our website. And please, our applications are available on our website as well. If you haven't visited, please do a visit. Okay, I have a question. So, no coverage for punitive damages regardless. Do you see that, Haywook? I'll let you answer.
Correct. Yeah, there's no. Well, CID might have other markets that might offer that, but at USLI, I can say the punitive damage will be excluded.
Is that standard in the industry, Haywook?
I personally am not aware. I'd like to think so, but I cannot really speak on behalf of other carriers.
Got it.
With our carriers, punitive damages are going to be excluded. It's not a standard.
Okay.
From the markets I've accessed, it's not a standard coverage that's included.
Perfect. Thank you, Teresa. And speaking of Teresa, Teresa is your underwriter, so she is going to be available to answer questions and take your call or your email regarding any kind of liquor exposure that you're interested in getting a quote for. Also, Jacob will be sending out a follow-up with an application and information on how to get a quick quote over the phone, and you'll see that probably tomorrow. So let us know how we can help you. And for those of you that we're doing business with, thank you for your business. And for those of you that are new to us, we look forward to doing business with you. Have a great day.
Thank you.